Yo, what up, a-holes? Thank you for tuning into the Holistic A-Hole podcast. My name is Eric Levi, and I'm the Holistic A-Hole, the mommy blogger with balls, the inconvenient truth of health. What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing good, whatever you're doing, wherever you're at. It's starting the new year off here with a bang. You're in it to win it, unless you're listening to this in the future, which most people do. Wherever you're listening to this from, thank you for tuning in, however you got here. I love it. Love you being here. We're going to talk about 5G today. I want to talk about 5G. I've been banging around this idea of 5G in my mind for a few days now, and I've done quite a bit of research. And I'll tell you, as the lead, I am frightened. I'm scared shitless of 5G, to be quite frank with you. And I'm going to tell you why. Because, here's the thing, man. I'm not really, worried about a lot of stuff when it comes to, health issues, that other people are worried about. I'm not really worried about a lot of things, But when it comes to this 5G thing, it really does make me a little nervous. I'm not going to lie. So I want to talk about all the reasons why, or many of the reasons why. I'm sure there's reasons I haven't even thought of yet to be afraid of 5G. It's pretty crazy what's going on with that. So I want to get into that. But first off, I just want to throw a quick shout out there. If you're new to the podcast, why don't you just take a second, hit the subscribe button. It's so easy to do. It's right there in your phone. They couldn't have made it any easier. You found your way here. You know it's going to be fun. Just hit the subscribe button. That way this podcast could pop up in your feed when it gets released once a week. And then that way, you'll be in on all the great podcasts. And if you haven't done this yet, go on over to iTunes or Apple Podcasts and leave a review. If you can make it 5 stars, that would be fantastic. And then follow me on all the social mediums, Instagram, Twitter, what's the other ones? Facebook, all Holistic A-Hole, and YouTube, Holistic A-Hole, and the Holistic A-Holes Facebook group. Okay. So 5G, where do we even begin with 5G? I'll be honest, I don't really know what 5G is. I really have no idea. I've done nothing but obsess about it and read about it for a solid, couple days, which makes me a scholar pretty much on it. But I've been hearing about it for a little bit, and I was like, what is this 5G, To some of the a-holes out there, I'm a big Alex Jones fan, and that topic's been popping up on his show lately, is the 5G. Of course, he's the only one talking about it. Somehow, it's not the most important thing on the mainstream news every day. We're just bathing in EMF, radiation, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. We're just swimming in this shit. And because we can't see it, people are like, oh, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. Our body's just being exposed to a technology and a radiation that it's never experienced in the 2+ million years that we've been humans. The body has never been exposed to this much radiation at one time, ever. I mean, ever. Every day, we're exposed to more radiation than 99% of humanity was ever exposed to throughout their entire lifetime. And we get that in probably a couple hours, really. We don't think about it because we don't see it. But, man, was it World War I that they had that poison gas? I don't know was it mustard gas? It was one of these terrible gases that you can't smell it, but it killed, it killed you. That's what it did. It was I don't know the name of the gas, but it was definitely produced by one of the, mainstream, current mainstream pharmaceutical companies like Bayer or Monsanto or whatever. They probably made this gas. That's how evil this shit was. But that's Wi-Fi. That's all that shit right now. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, all this stuff, dude. We're just bathing in it. Think about it, man. You're listening to this on a mobile device. How do you think my voice right here gets to your ears? Like, how does it get there? Through fucking waves, man. We've known about this shit. So, like, when it was just sound waves, it's like, okay, that's fine. Like, if you go to, like, a concert or something and there's just sound everywhere, like, okay, we can deal with that. That's fine. But waves that transfer, just bits of information, right? Think about, like, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. It's just carrying bits of information in the sky, or like in the space between us. Like, it goes through us. That's a crazy thing. Like, the radiation just goes through us. And it's like our cells have to, like, kind of withstand. Our cells are pretty fucking badass. Like, they can just withstand, like, this real low level hum of just stuff floating through the air. And for the most part, up until now, we don't know. We don't know. That's the thing. We don't know if this shit is currently, as of recording this, like, we don't know if this is currently, killing us. Is it giving us more cancer? Who knows? We won't know for years. You don't get cancer just in a day. And we don't know currently if this Wi-Fi and this Bluetooth. How long have earpods, fucking Apple's earpods, how long have those been around for? 2 years maybe. Dude, when that Bluetooth is just in your ear like that, like, this is waves just bouncing into your skull, into the side of your head. That's what all that Bluetooth stuff is. That's why I don't fucking, that's why I don't mess with Bluetooth. For a little while, I had wireless buds. I loved them. Even though they were like a pain in the ass, you got to charge the battery, whatever. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but they're so convenient. You could be at the gym. You could have your phone like on a chair, and then the buds in your ear, and you could just be working out, and the cord's not pulling it, or just like walking around. It's like way easier. Now it's like I have just a regular, like hardwired headphones. They're the worst, dude. They're the biggest pain in the ass. So you gotta wear them, and then they get caught on everything. They get caught on fucking everything. Like, I wear these things, they get caught on the little cabinet handles all the time. I don't know how. I don't know how this is physically possible, that every time I'm wearing hardwired headphones, somehow the cord will get caught on a handle, on a cabinet, or on a door. That's the worst, when you get caught on a door. You're like, oh shit. You're just getting, that just pulls your headphones out. Either way, the wireless are way, right? They're way better. But the Bluetooth is more dangerous than the Wi-Fi. And now though, what they got is they got this 4G thing going, and that's a game changer. Because it's the 4th generation we're in right now, and it's pretty intense. Like, again, we don't know if it's causing cancers and all these different things. But now they're going to bump it up to the 5G. The 5G. 5G. That's crazy. Because we just think it's like, oh, it's just like a bump up. No, it's like magnitudes in order of difference. Does that make sense? It's much bigger, because it's like the 3G. Now, I've researched this. I'm not an expert in it. Definitely, if one of you are an expert in this, please contact me. I would love to chat with somebody who knows what they're actually talking about here, because the numbers I'm going to spout, I've just seen so many numbers, I might get them wrong. Feel free to fact check me on Twitter, whatever it works. But it's pretty close. You'll understand what I'm talking about here. 4G, like we're in right now, emits a wavelength of 1 to 3 gigahertz. I think this is how you say that. Okay, that's 4G right now, and that's tolerable. Okay, and maybe it even goes up to like 5 or 6 gigahertz, but it's not a lot of gigahertz. And a gigahertz, that's still a lot. That's like 1 billion of these, I don't know, fucking information bits or waves or something just pulsing at you. This is magnitudes of order more than 3G was, and 2G. 2G was barely anything. 2G was like, 1920s, fucking Wi-Fi cellular technology. It was like a little, you had to like crank your phone to make it actually put sound out. Just like crank it around. It was like a big fucking barrel you had to put against your ear. They were big. They were clunky, and that tech, you'd lose somebody walking through a door. Not even like a high ceiling, just a door. Just everything changes. Sorry, I can't hear you anymore. What happened? Oh, there's some plywood between me and you. All right, well, dude, get out the string and the cup. Let's just talk that way. I think the reception will be much clearer. You drop people like crazy. You still drop people. They'll never get that shit, figured out. It's 4G. I drop people, I still have to like, turn my phone upside down and go into like the 1 square foot that I can actually get service in my apartment. But now this 5G is like no joke. I think this 5G, as bad as it is, I think it might actually fix that shit. So you can you won't even talk on the phone anymore. You're just gonna video chat, because that's how crisp the signal's gonna be. But we're just gonna be frying in it. That's how toxic it is. So the 4G is like 1 to 3 gigahertz. The 5G is anywhere between 24 and 90 gigahertz. 90. Okay, so right now we're getting like 1 to 3 billion of these, gigahertz, just, floating through us. Now we're about to get 90 billion. 90 billion. Up to. Now it could be 24. Even 24 is insanely high. It's insanely high. That's the starting point of 5G. And they don't know. They don't know what this shit does. You know what's crazy? The military has this machine. It's called the active denial system. So you see this thing like and it is, it's just like one of these trucks with a giant like satellite looking thing on it, and it just transmits gigahertz. It transmits 95 gigahertz, and it basically shoots a beam, like a wavelength beam of 95 gigahertz at groups of people to disperse the people. That's what this thing does. So it's like a nonviolent way of breaking up like riots and groups of people. You just shoot them with fucking radiation, 95 gigahertz of radiation. And it's like, and it splits people up. They like disperse because you just got shot with radiation. Your body's on fire. It goes into your skin, and your body's on fire basically. Like you're just so this is where this whole this movie Bird Box comes in. I've only seen like the first 20 minutes of it. I don't know. I've watched it like in the end of the night, and it's not really my kind of movie. At least the first 20 minutes. It probably is good. It's been downloaded an insane amount of times. I see it talked a bunch about on social media. I just have a hard. I have a hard like time watching stuff. I'm not really interested in. And the movie started off. It's I don't know. Some of you losing your minds. You're like, dude, just watch the first 45 minutes. Then you'll figure it out. Then you'll be into it. Whatever, I'll do it. I'll get through it. I'm the type of person who watches Netflix movies in like 5 sittings. By the time I get to the end, I started it a month ago. I've already forgotten the names of the main people in the movie. But yeah, I guess this what this movie's about. Like people just start going crazy and killing themselves, and I don't know if that's gonna happen in 5G, but I think it's safe to assume nobody knows what's gonna happen. Once they start putting these towers up everywhere, it's gonna be fucking madness. Look how crazy people are right now. People are crazy. People, have legitimately lost their minds, and I'll be the first to put that, put a lot of that on, pharmaceuticals and our shit food, water, and air supply. But the idea of radiation, that's a whole other thing, man. And we don't look into it enough. look into it at all. Really, we've just assumed that all this shit is okay. Do you realize there are no non-industry funded studies that show that Wi-Fi is safe, that any of this shit is safe, that Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, they have no, you know why? Because it hasn't been around long enough to know if it's safe. You know, if it's given us cancer could take like 20, 30 years. It could take 5. It could be fucking instantaneous, you know, it comes in all forms. But in most people, it takes a little while. So we don't even know what it's doing. But we're just assuming that it's like, oh, we're not even asking. We're not even assuming. We're not even asking. We're not even like, hey, is all this Wi-Fi okay? It's like, it's got to be okay. Why? We don't know, dude. It's the same thing like cigarettes, man. Like when cigarettes in the 1940s, 1950s, 1960s, dude, you used to go to your doctor and, you know, you'd be like, you were ill. People had serious problems. They go in there with like real bad flu symptoms and probably the beginnings of fucking polio and all this stuff, and the doctor's like, just take a day off work, smoke a bunch of cigarettes, eat some hard wheat toast and some butter and some orange juice, and you'll feel better. And the doctor basically was just smoking cigarettes in the doctor's office, just blowing smoke in your face. Like, that's you get yourself some cigarettes, you'll feel better. They prescribed cigarettes. It was, that was the same thing. That's how fucked up it is, because they don't know, right? And it's the same thing with the phones. Like, they're like, oh, wear the wear the Wi-Fi app to sleep. Just wrap like it's a sleep monitor, let the Wi-Fi just sit on your body at night while you sleep, just low level, just high bursts of radiation, just like right by your body while you sleep. This is what people are doing right now. But the reasons, specifically that 5G scares me. I mean, Jesus Christ, where do you begin? There's so many. First of all, they have no studies. There are no studies. We are the study right now. That's like what we have to, that's where the conversation has to start. We are the study, These quote unquote experts, if we thought that the pharmaceutical industry was slimy, the telecom industry is probably the slimiest. Like a frog's back, the slimiest. They're shitty. They got so many lobbyists in Congress, in government, everywhere, just making sure that Wi-Fi can be set up in places. And now they got this 5G technology, and they're just like, we're gonna put it up, and nobody's like, how many gigahertz is it? They're like, this many. They're like, is that safe? And industry's like, is it safe? Yeah. But what do you think? It's not safe? It's 5G. You think it's not safe? What are you, out of your mind? What are you, a pussy? What, do you want to just sit around with 4G all day? What are you just gonna have, streaming video to your phone and live up to the second news updates with international texting? You're just gonna be okay with that? Okay, Grandpa. Yeah. This is okay. So 5G is, it's fucking dangerous. There's no proof that it's not dangerous. There's a ton of studies and scientists. So here's an interesting story. I read this in the book Radiation Nation, which I highly recommend if you're looking for a starting point. Pretty easy to digest reading on on this radiation stuff. Radiation Nation. I don't know who wrote it. It's right there on my shelf. I can't see it though. But that's a good starting point. This is a story of this guy, George Carlo, who was a chief scientist for the Cellular Telecommunications and Internet Association. So basically like a pretty much like a front group for the telecommunications industry back in like the 1990s, right? So this guy was the chief scientist for that, and that was headed up by this guy named Tom Wheeler, who ended up being the president of the FCC for I think like 10 years or so. And he got a lot. He basically made it what it is today, you know, or at least what it's becoming. But this guy, George Carlo, was the chief scientist of the CTIA, and he was the director of the Wireless Technology Research Project in 1999. And what he basically did was he was commissioned to do this study, and Tom Wheeler, the head of the CTIA, he approved the study, and he got $28 million. This dude George Carlo did, to run a study to basically analyze, all these papers that he did research projects in the 90s to see if all this cellular technology was safe. And basically what he ends up doing in 1999 is sends letters out to the main heads of pretty much all the companies in the wireless industry, the big businesses in the wireless industry, and basically saying that the WTR, the Wireless Technology Research Project's research had found that the risk of rare neuroepithelial tumors on the outside of the brain was more than doubled in cell phone users. In 1999, this was in 1999, okay? Basically, he's saying that we did this study, and it looks to be that the risk of brain tumors just on the outside of the brain was more than doubled in people who used the cell phones. And back in 1999, not everybody had a cell phone. Most people, I don't think, had a cell phone. I think the numbers are really low, like 3 out of 10 or 4 out of 10 people had a cell phone. Now it's like 95% of people have phones. And in 1999, half those people were they were basically linking brain tumors to cell phone use. Of those phones, remember those phones? Those old-ass phones? Those phones, dude, I mean, the battery, it was like a flashlight battery. It was like a AA battery. Those things are huge, right? They were huge, but they were not even nearly as powerful as what we have today. So then he also stated there was a correlation between brain tumors occurring on the right side of the head and the use of the phone on the right side of the head, basically saying these people, their tumors were all on the right. The people who used the phone on the right side of their head, that's where their tumors were. And the ability of radiation from a phone's antenna to cause functional genetic damage was definitely positive. In 1999, they basically said phones are toxic. Phones are giving people brain tumors. That's basically what it was, dude. And that was in 1999. Okay, and now they're basically like, okay, we're adding this thing Wi-Fi to that already dangerous thing you're putting next to your head. And now it's just going to be constantly going through you. In fact, this is what really makes me angry. I mean, there's, actually, you can go to my website, www.holisticaHole.com. I actually have 16 reasons listed why this worries me. I'm not going to read all 16. You should go check that out there. But I'm just going to give you a few here. But this one that I'm going to read you right now was the one that really, genuinely at my core made me very angry. And it's that there is a petition basically written by 180 scientists, actually even more than that. But this is like the ones they're from 35 countries who actually have recommended a moratorium on the rollout of 5G until this quote, potential hazards for human health and the environment have been fully investigated by scientists independent from the industry. 180 scientists, and then I think like 60 more were like, we believe there is a causal link. They didn't call for a moratorium though. That's what these 180 scientists, can you believe that shit? 180 scientists are like, yeah, we cannot support this rollout of 5G. We can't support it. This is like insanity. There's no science that tells us that this is safe in any way. There's no science. They're just like, industry's just like, trust us. And then industry will write the reports and then present them. And then we don't hear about it. We don't hear about it down here. They just put the shit up all around the cities, man. You go around, there's just 4G antennas everywhere. And they're hidden too. They don't have to be. There are some buildings where you can see the whole old antennas, and they're like, they're kind of up there, and they're, you're like, oh, those are definitely antennas. But now they've made them so stealth. They just go onto the sides of buildings. You can put stuff over them so you don't see them. They literally paint them into the sides of the buildings. It's crazy. These 5G towers are actually going to be much bigger. And I saw they were supposed to look something like a pizza box, like kind of be that shape. So they're just going to be like ugly and unsightly, and they're just going to be everywhere, dude. And that's the other thing too. They need to put them up more because the 5G, they pass the signals from tower to tower, antenna to antenna, but the 5G signal is so dense and so heavy that they actually have to put up more of these 5G towers because they can't travel as far distance, so they have to be more frequent towers. Does that make sense? They got to have more towers because the signal is so dense and so heavy, because it's again, tens billions more bits of pixie jizz. I don't know what it is. I don't know what 5G. I don't know what any of these G's are. I don't know what a gigahertz is. I don't know what this stuff. So I'm just like trying to figure it out. Information wavelengths, whatever it is. It's so much so heavy that it needs more like, more terminals, more of the points, right? More of the what do you call them? Antennas, towers. And the antennas are big and they're ugly. They look like pizza boxes, but they got to be more of them all around. And they can just put this shit on your house or in front of your house, and it doesn't matter. You can't stop them. It's written into their laws that if they put this shit up somewhere, you just have to be okay with it. You have no rights as a person. And in most homeowners insurance policies, they actually have excluded any liability from what do you call it? Liability from illness due to long-term radiation exposure. It's called the electromagnetic field exclusion. Exclusion 32. That's what it is. Man, I should sell insurance, shouldn't I? I would make no sales. I would make no sales if I sold insurance. I'd be like, hey man, just so you know, this house kind of is like sitting under a Wi-Fi antenna, 5G antenna. So yeah, you don't want to live here. Go live somewhere else, man. Go live in the mountains. Just give up the phones. Who needs it? Who needs it? Just buy Bitcoins. You'll be fine. That's what it's coming to, dude. That's what it's coming to. Yeah, that's the other shitty thing about 5G is you can't sue you can't fucking, you have no recourse if you get cancer because of radiation from from the antenna in front of your house. Can't do it. You got to buy actually they actually do have policies. You've got to buy them separate though, and they're of course they're expensive. Of course. The system is rigged, right? If not rigged, it's very well put together to fuck you. That's what I say. Okay, here's one more. This one is probably to me, the most telling. And again, when you read this, it's gonna make you angry. It's gonna make you angry. It makes me angry. This one makes me angry and so scared. So this last October, mysteriously, in the Netherlands, they were trying one of these 5G cell towers out. They were testing it, and they were testing it in some location called it was in the Netherlands. It's called The Hague. It's called The Hague, but it was in a park somewhere, and it was in a park, and they shoot the signal off. The signal was supposed to get to a train to connect to the rail there, the railroad there. They shoot the 5G off, and then mysteriously 100 birds just died.
A month later.
100 birds just died.
No, hundreds, maybe.
Could be more. It's crazy. But they're like, conspiracy theorists want you to think that it was the 5G, but it could not be the 5G because it only makes too much sense. And here at CNN, you're not allowed to use context for any information that involve any facts. We just use emotions. So if you want to say it was the 5G, you're a racist. That's basically to me the most scariest part about this fucking 5G thing. Just, they shoot off 5G, possibly hundreds of birds died, and then they're like, oh, what are you, a racist conspiracy theorist because you think it was the 5G that killed the birds? Yeah, I am, you psychopath. I don't want fucking me or my family or anybody around me to die like the birds did because of this fucking 5G thing. Yeah, I'm a crazy conspiracy theorist. Absolutely. If that means I genuinely care about, humanity and I don't buy the bullshit that, the mainstream wants to feed me, if you don't think that this is absolutely the most important thing that we have to face in 2018, 2019, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. Republican, Democrat, Trump, hate Trump, Vice, Huffington Post, whatever your thing is, this is like the thing that we should all be coming together on is like, hey, they're legitimately trying to poison us. Every one of them. There are no good ones. If they're not on Twitter every single day saying something about EMF, EMR, 5G radiation, if they're not saying that every single day, they don't care about us because this will kill us. If you think healthcare is a problem now, just wait till everybody has cancer. How are we going to go on? How are we going to procreate a society? How is anybody going to be able to get pregnant? Right? If we're just exposed to this much radiation, how is this not a complete endocrine disrupting crisis that we're going to deal with? I mean, never mind. I mean, all the goddamn mental effects that people are going to have. Depression, suicide, people just feeling inflamed all the time. I mean, this is to me serious shit. And I can't believe it's not being talked about every single day. Every day. It's just going to come up on us. I mean, and what can we do? What can you do other than just move to the mountains, right? Or just move to, I don't know. This is how Waterworld's going to happen. Everyone's going to move to the goddamn water. You have no choice. And be like, dude, on land, everything is Wi-Fi. We can't even go on land. We have to live on boats in the water. That's what Waterworld was. They wanted you to believe that it was global warming that rose the sea levels that covered all the land and everything's what? No, it was the land, we couldn't be there, or you're gonna get fried by Wi-Fi because you think they're gonna stop at 5G. 5G is like the people who will survive the next 20 years. 6G is like adios humanity. I don't get how that's going to just work out. I would love to see an argument for somebody trying to convince me that there's any redeeming quality of 5G. Oh, I'm going to be able to have internet on my refrigerator? Oh, wow. Thank God. Yo, sure, bathe me in cancer and depression. Please, if I can scroll through Twitter on my refrigerator or even watch YouTube, whoa, that's so great. I could totally watch YouTube and use Twitter on my refrigerator. Oh my God, because I don't have an attention span. And the thought of being alone with my thoughts while I open my refrigerator, well, that's just sheer torture. But now I could watch YouTube in my refrigerator. Thank you, Internet of Things. You couldn't be possible without Wi-Fi from 5G. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh, kids, come gather around the old oven internet pod. You guys want to play Angry Birds? No. Oh, sorry, that's what we played in my day. You guys are Candy Crushers, aren't you? Oh, yeah. I remember when they first came out with Candy Crush. Boy, I broke 3 of my thumbs to get through Candy Crush. Oh, yeah, we used to have 3 thumbs back in my day. I don't know what that means. But, yeah, no, I'm frightened. I am scared to death of 5G. I hope I made you scared too. Again, people want you to believe that fear, you can't push people with fear. I think you absolutely have to motivate people with fear when it comes to this, because there's no other way. There's no other way to convince people that this is not a serious problem. Like if there's a tidal wave coming at you, what do? Do you just like nonchalantly just go up to people like, hey guys, there's a tidal wave from it's coming from, we're on an island right now. Yeah, well, there's a giant tidal wave that's about to hit the land in like 5 minutes. So if you want, you could just it's up to you. You can just start slowly making your way kind of away from the ocean, just take your time. It's only going to be here in like 3.5 minutes. So, you could just kind of make your way a little bit up, up into the island, inland. No, you're going to be like, dude, fucking, we're all going to die. Go, move, go inland. What are you, crazy? You got 3.5 minutes. Jump in your car, drive 90 miles an hour. Go. That's how I feel about this 5G stuff. Like, this is how we have to be. It's how we have to be. Because it is, they're just going to put it up. They're just going to put it up. That's the funniest part, right? I don't know if there's a petition. I wish there's a call to action. Maybe I'll find a call to action at some point. But I just wanted to come in here and talk about this because it's been popping up a lot. And then apparently this movie Bird Box, Alex Jones broke that up. Sandra Bullock says that looks like the movie Bird Box, which has been downloaded 40 million times. It's all about 5G. We've been talking about 5G here ever since the beginning, ever since 1984. Before there was 5G, we've been talking about 5G here on InfoWars. Buy your colloidal silver. It's only 75% off. Yeah, I'm worried. And you should be too. And we should all take action together. What that looks like, I don't know, but it will be something. Oh man, I'm exhausted. I've been going at this one hard. So, look, if you enjoyed the podcast, go over to my blog, and that's holisticaHole.com, and check out my 16 reasons why Wi-Fi or 5G radiation is dangerous. And while you're there, drop me, if you want to share your email, get on the email list. Find my social medias, Holistic A-Hole, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And if you're new here, please take some time and binge on some previous Holistic A-Hole episodes. Oh, they only get better. So thanks for listening, everybody. By the way, I would love to know your thoughts on this. If you know anything about Wi-Fi or any of this stuff that I talked about, please shoot me a tweet. You can DM me at Holistic A-Hole. I would love to get somebody on this podcast who knows what they're talking about, not just like you're some crazy person who has read a few blogs. Like, you actually have a background in this sort of telecommunications. If you're a telecommunications exec, hit me up, man. I'd love to talk about this with someone at the C level. You know what I'm talking about? So again, thanks so much for listening, everybody. Have yourself a great week, and I'll talk to you on the next one. Peace.